The real measure of housing affordability. Let's have a look. Good afternoon, everyone. Florian here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I hope you've had a relaxing Saturday and are enjoying your weekend. I invite you to grab your stein of coffee. And, well, I want to do something a bit different today. I want to talk about I would argue, the real measure, an indicator of housing affordability. Forget all interest rates, forget serviceability requirements, forget earning to house price ratio, forget all of that. This is the one real measure that is going to tell us if housing is affordable, comparable to the past, and how we compare to other countries around the world. So let's jump here and have a look at this one magic number or measure. Now, this is from Trading Economics, and this is the Australian home ownership rate. So, the home ownership rate in Australia decreased to 66% in 2020 from 66.2% in 2018. It's averaged 69.15% from 1966 until 2020, reached an all-time high of 71.4% in 66 and a record low of 66% in 2020. So I had a look at this chart, and let's max it out here. And what we'll do is we'll change it to a line chart, and let's see, put the average. Okay, it's not giving us the average with a line chart, but we can see the average here. And it's going right back as far as they can into the mid-60s. Notice how Australia's had several periods where, right before 2000 pretty much, home ownership was at 70% or over 70%. It's been really high. And I've been trying to find data that goes further back. I've had little luck with my quick searches at the ABS. I may need to put a request in or dig a bit deeper to see how it's changed over time. But this is a good measure for most of us now. And, well, the trend is really depressingly clear. It's really falling down. Okay, we're now at the lowest level that we have been ever, or since the data in this chart exists. Only 66% are owning the home, and this figure usually includes those with a mortgage as well. And one interesting thing from the ABS, that the average cost of someone owning a home when they've got a mortgage is like $450, I think $490 a week. When you don't have a mortgage and you own a home, it's like $54 a week. This is why I make the argument that home ownership is more important to prepare people for retirement than even having superannuation. If you own your home outright, if you can get into it earlier, you can reap the rewards of longer capital growth. Maybe in your younger years when you can work harder, maybe that might be more of an advantage. So I thought we'd compare Australia to some other countries. So if just looking at this chart, okay, housing in Australia, as well, we're measuring it by saying if the greater the proportion of ownership, the better it is for our country and the more affordable it is. Because if more people can own houses, that means it's more affordable. So, yeah, not anymore. It's gone down. But we can compare home ownership by country, the rate by country. So where do you think we rank with home ownership? Okay, I'm going to have another shot of coffee or swig of my Stein. And you let me know either in the live chat or in the comments where you think Australia will rank at the top, the bottom, number 54.9. Are we above or below America and the EU? And by America, I mean the United States. So here we go. We can do, well, Australia's here. We'll do it by the last data. So Kosovo is at 97.8, Romania is 94.8, Slovakia is at 93%, and Russia is at 91.7. Hungary at 90%. So, I mean, all of those countries, maybe we got to check the data there. Maybe it's unfair. I mean, let's have a look. Where's it coming from? Eurostat? I mean, let's go max data. I mean, okay, it's only from 2006, but I mean, look at that jump. That's insane. 90% home ownership. Good on the Hungarians. You got Singapore, Lithuania, Poland, where if I were to live, Rachel would never have to pay any tax anymore for the rest of her life. Over 87%. Look how it's just shot up. Look how home ownership has gone in 2010 to 2011 from 68% to 81.3%. What did Poland do here? That's very interesting. Let me know in the chats. I don't have time to research it, but I'll pin that. That's one to consider. What do they say here? Home ownership, yeah, averaged 80%. That's interesting, looking at what they're doing there. We've got what else? Macedonia, Bulgaria, Latvia. So let's look at Norway. Norway. They've got max data. How far? Only 2004. It's a shame it doesn't go further back. But you can see above 80%, 86%, 80%. And it's, well, let's put the average on here and we can see it's falling too. From 86% down to 79%. Not too good for Norway. What about Portugal? It's not a country you'd think about too often with regards to this. 74.6% has just jumped up. Let's look at the average to get a bit of a feel for it. So yeah, this is unusual what's happened in the last few years. What's going on in Portugal for home ownership there? We may need to have a look at what's happening there. You've got Czech Republic, 70%, Spain, Slovenia, Italy, at 74.3%. We hear all the stories of the Italians leaving, coming to Australia and other countries. We need to get better, more long-term data here for this here. And then again, something's happening. More people owning houses. More people are in home ownership. They haven't been below 70% since this data. And if we look at, remember, poor old Australia, since 2000, it's just tanked. We're heading down. All of the others seem to be heading up. Let's look at European Union, which is above Australia. We can see here what max data they have. Okay, and it's trending down over the whole union. I wonder what countries are bringing that down. We haven't seen the UK yet, have we? Okay, so if we have a look here, then you've got Canada and Australia. So let's have a look at Canada. So we are below both Canada and the European Union for home ownership. If we look at Canada, let's go to the max data. Again, early 2000s. Now, this surprised me. This surprised me because, I'm listening to Mike Martins, and I think former Fist, he's a Canadian as well. All of the issues that people have with housing affordability in Canada, all the media discussions. But since 2000, it's been trending up. Look at that. It's gone from 63.9% up to 66.5%. And it's decreased in 21. What's the peak? All-time high of 68.55. A low of 63.9 in 1999. So there you go. In 99, it was the lowest. And let's compare that to Australia. So we were above 70%, a bit low here, up, high, just been going down since the 2000s. So Canada is going up while Australia is going down. And this is not just recent. This is not just recent news. This is just in the last 20 years, guys. The last 2 decades. So there you go. It's interesting, isn't it? Now, the United States, we have a higher home ownership rate than the US. And the US can do some interesting things. You can, someone sent me an article, and I've discussed this before, that wouldn't it be advantageous if you could write off the interest on your income tax for your home, your primary residence? Wouldn't that be awesome? So let's see how far the data goes back. So there you go, US, beautiful data. Look how far back that goes. Look how detailed it is. Can we change that to a column? Oh, there you go. Come on, give me an average. There you go. So it's a real country, isn't it? I watched an LGR video where he's talking about Internal Revenue building computers just to take tax submissions. But anyway, we can see here. So let's go with the chart, the column. We can see here. So it's decreased to 65.7. Okay, so it's pretty close to Australia right now. we're trending down. But in the US, hang on, let me just move that here. In the US, what was the all-time high? So the all-time high was 69.2%. So they haven't got 20%. In the second quarter of 2004, an all-time low of 62.9 in the second quarter of 1965. So even the post-housing bubble crash, we didn't get as low as 1965. So if we were to look at, well, I mean, there you go. Look at that crash. It's climbing right back up, isn't it? The trend in the last 10 years is, well, the average, one could argue, is heading upwards. But if we go out to 25 years, you can see down and then slowly up again. But there you go. I mean, it's kind of flattened out at the moment, maybe trending down a little bit. Oh, you know what would be useful of this? Oh, I should. You know what? Bear with me. I'm going to find my PowerPoint that I have to look at the different generations, everyone. Generations. Where's my PowerPoint? There we go. There's the template. Okay, bear with me a sec. Okay. How's this best going to do? You know what? Let me just do it the really dodgy way and drag it over to this screen. Okay, we can see that one there. We'll maximize that. There we go. Beautiful. Look at that. So here we have the different generations. Okay, so we've got Gen Alpha is 2010 to 2020s. The Zoomers, Gen C, 97 to 2012. Millennials, my generation, 81 to 96. Gen X, 65 to 80. Boomers, 46 to 64. So it will be interesting to see just the home ownership at different rates. While boomers were, let's say, when was the last boomer born? In 64. So that was right when home ownership was at the lowest point, 65. And then it's just gone up since when the last boomer was born. That's interesting. Gen X, 65 to 1980. While they were growing up, when the last boomer, Gen X, was born, home ownership in the States just tanked. It just tanked. Then my generation, 81 to, 96. So we're right about here. So from when the last millennial was born, so at the beginning it went down, it was flat, and then just skyrocketed up. To Gen Z was 97, right about here, to 2012. So they just know they were alive during all insanity. And when the last one was born, it just went down, and now it's rocketed right back up. So that's interesting, just to overlay that. So let's have a look at the United States. Okay, the Euro area is a bit below. United Kingdom. Let's look at the UK. Let's look at the UK, guys. How are we going there? How much data do we have? Yeah, come on, trading economics, get us some more data. But we can see here from the mid-2000s, it's just gone down. It's slightly going up again. Nothing that exciting, is it? Nothing that exciting. But still, they've been below home ownership in Australia for, well, since the last 5 years, slowly creeping up to our level. But they were over 70% for those few years there. What else? Our good old New Zealand, our Kiwi brothers. How are they going? What? Oh, boy. Well, okay. Where's this data come from? How often do they capture this? Like, once in a blue moon? But anyway, with the data that we have, it's trending down. It's trending down from the 80s. What was this in 88? All-time high of 73%. 73.8% in 91, a record low of 64.6 in 2018. So New Zealand, it's becoming less affordable. Australia, it's becoming less affordable. I'm using this as a measure. Okay, ignore everything else. Forget about interest rates, forget about repayments, forget about the fact that two people have to work now. We're not living like the past anymore, and this shows you. Less people are owning homes. This is a bad thing. You want it up here. You want it at 70%. You want people owning homes. You want people invested in your country. This is a failure of policy since 2000. What's been going on since then, guys? Lots of things have been happening. Let's, you know what? Let's have a look at immigration. Australia. Let's see what we have there, because that's what a lot of people complain about. Okay. Population growth. Rural, urban. Let's see what other data it gives us here. Got max. I mean, since 2000, it's been pretty flat, guys. Do they break it down in what's natural growth and immigration growth? I don't think they give us that here. Well, anyway. What else can we look at? What other countries here? So we're getting the bottom of the list. France, 63%. Israel. Let's have a look at Israel. Maybe Japan. Oh, we don't have enough data here to draw anything. It's flat, pretty much. Israel. Again, we don't have enough data here to draw any conclusions, but, I mean, it's gone down the last couple of years. Not as crazy as Australia. What about Germany? Oh, shit. Germany, 46.7%. Austria, 51.4%. What is going on? Why is it so low? I mean, there you go. That's why you've got, so Austria is just trending down. At least from 2007, from 59% down to 51.4%. That's not good. Explains a lot, too. Explains the dependency on social housing. It's a different culture. Wow. What about Japan? And we don't have enough there. What about Germany? Again, even 53% down. Whoa, look at that. That's a huge fall from 49% to 46.7% in what, 1 year? Shit. 2011, a record low of 46.7% in 2022. Okay, all-time high in 2011 of 53.4%. We're now at a record low in Germany of home ownership, trending down. So, well, let's have a bit of a chat about all of this, guys. I thought it was just interesting to have a look at some of these figures, particularly with a lot of the messaging we get around the world about, housing being more affordable in some countries, less affordable in others. What we can see here is home ownership is declining in Australia significantly. It's not in Canada, not in the US as much. UK, what we have here, it's starting to go down. But there you go, guys. I mean, is Australian housing affordable? Or are we going to be at levels of similar countries around the world, around that 65% mark? We're no longer going to be using housing above 70% as a way of bridging and changing our society. I think it's a sad issue. I think this is a sign that since 2000, policies have been steering Australia in the wrong direction. You want to have higher home ownership. It should be a priority of any conservative government to ensure individuals own homes. You want individuals that have control of their own little piece of land, have that independent streak, and then have that pride, have a vested interest in their country. Otherwise, you're going to have more and more people turning to dangerous political ideologies because they're hopeless. They've got no other hope. What do you reckon? Anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one, and I'll see you in the next episode of HeiseSays. Bye for now.